This morning, November 12th, 25, markets opened up red. As a result of that, I, well, they actually opened up, gapped up a little bit green, but quickly went red. And as a result of that, I looked to my short trade setups that I had shared yesterday. The first trade I took today was on the idea of a look above this 506.50 and fail on Microsoft. So it broke the low, kind of give this little bear flag here. I took the break of this low and targeted back to 499.75 as was the plan in yesterday's video. Caught a clean short there. You can see after that it did double bottom and recover back above this 506.50. So going forward on Microsoft, the next thing I would want to look out for is if and when it gets to this 515.50, do sellers step up again, looking for a potential short at that level again. The other or another trade I took this morning was I took Microsoft and the heck was it? Palantir. I took Palantir. Let's take a look at that chart. Palantir had a gap to fill today, or partially fill at this little minor level right here that I was watching out for. All right. And on Palantir, I'll show you, I believe I'm 99% sure I shared this trade I did in yesterday's or the day before's video as well. Um, So what I took on Palantir, let me just zoom in a little so it can be better seen. Palantir broke into the gap. I did not catch the first move down, but I was paying attention when it came back up and retested this 183.50 level. It gave this little hammer candle here. I took the break of the low on the next candle right here, wrote it back down to the low a day, took that short. And then the third trade that I took today was gold, and it's GLD. And the trade I took on gold, not a setup I would normally take and probably shouldn't take because it's just not the best setup. But I took it, and that was just a break of this 2-minute flag. Took the break of that and just wrote it back up here a little bit. Traded that in futures on gold. So those were the trades I took today. And now we will take a look at charts for tomorrow. Okay, we're looking at the SPY hourly chart, and overall, I mean, SPY really didn't make a lot of progress today. Came down and then came back up. Uh, on a smaller time frame, probably looks like a V-shaped recovery, something like that. So, what are we looking for going forward with SPY? I would say absolutely nothing has changed from the analysis yesterday. We're just basically looking for possibly something like this, staying in this kind of bounce range, then a break above with a higher low, something like that. Or something I would like to see even more would be some type of pullback. Looks like this. Get down here, inverted head and shoulders, and then come back up. That would be the best way to get involved long on SPY. Does not necessarily mean that's the way it happens. But if we did come down here and buyers stepped up, that would be a great opportunity to get long. Um, until then, bouncing out, in this area. We're just kind of fading down at what was this expected move high is from Friday's option chain last Friday, what the expected move high was going to be for this Friday. I don't think market makers want it to go higher because, you know, then they start losing money. But doesn't mean it can't go higher. Let's take a look at QQQ. Nothing has changed on QQQ. We are in a very clear 3-day bounce range. And I would say no need to update any levels over here. None of that stuff. I'm trying to figure out why I have an alert right here. I'm not sure. Not sure why that was there. Um, any pullbacks? I need to zoom out further so I make sure I get these levels right. All right. Ideally, for the most ideal bull trend, if we do get any pullbacks, we want to hold this level right here. But we really need to hold this one here. But any pullbacks to these levels where buyers step up, we start seeing hammer candles, etc. Good place to get involved long. Otherwise, we're bouncing out here. I'm not getting involved in any trades here. Maybe would consider a higher low above here. And then fill the gap above. So there's that path. And then there's a pullback long path, something like that. That would be how I would want to get involved. I would not be bearish on this chart unless we filled this gap and then stayed down in this area. Then that wouldn't be good. Let's take a look at NVDA. I mean, the analysis for most of these just looks like it's basically more or less the same. Nothing has really changed. We're holding the gap, but we're also not going anywhere. So it is nice that we're holding this previous high. So that's the most bullish, best ideal outcome. Looks like anytime we get down here, buyers are stepping up. So that is good. We're not filling this gap. Fine. If we were to fill this gap, what I would expect to see is buyers to step up on the gap, fill, and then continue back up. Also, what I also stated in yesterday's video, and I will say it also holds true today. If and when we get up to this 202.40 level, this does become an area potentially where sellers that could step back in. So just watch out for that, and might be an area to get involved in shorts if sellers do step up. Let's take a look at Google. So the idea for Google today was for if we got a pullback to 285.50 for buyers to step back up on these previous highs. Buyers somewhat stepped up, but there was really no movement on that. I'm going to move the level down to 205.25. If it falls back into below 205.25, I'm really not interested in it until it gets below 276.65. then I would absolutely consider shorting under that level. There's thin structure all the way down to here. Otherwise, as stated for a minute now, we are waiting for Google to do something like this and come up to that overnight all-time high. Moving on. Taking a look at AMD. AMD had a little move up today. What I'd be looking for going forward is just higher lows over this 264.65 eventually. It might chop and slop for a while before that really kicks into gear, though. We will see. Next, Tesla. Tesla once again broke below 440, gave a lower high, and buyers step back up at the 50 SMA. For how many times has it done that now? Twice. Um, I think Tesla's eventually going to break out, but if you look at this daily chart, it's a mess up here. I guess you could call this some kind of giant bull flag, but I can also see the potential for a double top, a lot of things going on. If it breaks that 50 SMA, I would be concerned about it. I don't think I'm too interested in taking any trades in this range. So it needs to get out of that range before I'd be interested in taking trades. I know I shared a trade on Palantir, but did I trade a path going forward? Don't think I did. Update this gap level. Buyer stepped up on the 50. Let's look at the daily chart. Zoom in. Back to the hourly. Well, can we continue from here with a gap fill reversal or a partial gap fill reversal? So the question becomes, can it do something like this? Get a higher low above and continue, and then fill this gap up here. That's what I'd be watching out for. Probably looking to get involved on a higher low above 187.25 if it can get back above that level. Let's take a look at Amazon. Hmm. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Probably not interested in trades between 250.25, which has turned into a bounce area high. And this previous all-time high of 242.50. Oops. So I either need a higher low above 250.25 or a lower high below 242.50. I'm going to set alerts on that for if and when those happen. And I'm going to prefer to the upside because that is the trend. And moving on to, I think we already did Microsoft. We already did Google. Let's take a look at Meta. We were potentially looking at an inverted head and shoulders. That kind of fell apart today. It moved back down. Um, I would almost say it's creating a little bounce range at the lows here, which is a bearish sign. So if this little range down here falls apart, we may be looking at heading towards these gaps down here. Probably won't be trading it. It's already gone so far. I just don't have a lot of trust for it right now. Take a look at hood. Delete that. Oops, that was not an eraser. All right, looks like buyers are trying to step up on the 50 again. Take a look at the daily chart. Looks like we have a double top threat on the daily chart. I remember. So the idea from last night was, let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. The idea from last night was if it breaks below 130, 115, short it, heading down towards this 128. Looks like that trade did play out. Let me move to the 2-minute chart and see if there would have been a way to get involved. So it dumped, came back above, dumped, came back, and gave a lower high right off the level. Little inverted hammerish type camel candle right here, broke low. So yeah, there was definitely an opportunity to get involved short on this idea that was planned out. I didn't, unfortunately, did not catch that trade, but that's fine. Um, Going forward, need more time here. Hmm. The double top came up, tested the neckline, came down. The only thing I don't like is buyers step back up today and now it's back up here. So maybe we get something like this where it comes up and then back down. It's kind of a bounce trade. I don't really think like I'm a big fan of trading the hood chart right now. There's just too much junk and crap on the left-hand side. So I'm probably interested below this 121 level or above this 148.85 level. So until one of those things happens, probably not a whole lot of interest in trading this one. I have sand. I've been looking at SanDisk because I'm wondering if that thing's going to capitulate to the upside and have a big sell-off. I mean, I'm not wondering if, I'm more like wondering when it's going to happen. So I'm just been kind of keeping an eye on it because that might end up being a wonderful short. Uh, Average volume. It was low on volume today, so volume is really kind of fading out on it as it's moving up. So, and that was after this massive volume over here. So it might be getting there. It might be getting there. Not yet though. Um, take a look at IBM. I know I was watching for a bull flag over there. Looks like it probably did open gapped up this morning, meaning that the bull flag basically broke and we are now at the previous highs. So the question becomes, does IBM end up doing this? Or better yet, does it end up doing this? That's what I'd be watching out for on IBM. Could happen right out of the gates tomorrow at open. Um, I think that's it for now. Have a good one. Like, follow, subscribe. I'm out.